You're listening to Parasearch UK Radio. News, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch UK Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
You're listening to The Spirit Dimension with your host, Kerry Greenaway, right here on Parasearch Radio.
Good evening and welcome to the first Spirit Dimension of 2019, and I have got some cracking shows already lined up for you this year. So in the studio joining me tonight is my lovely friend and co-host Clare Hinks, who disappeared off the end of last year, didn't you?
I did. Good evening, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks. You were very busy though, weren't you, at the end of last year?
Gosh, I was. It was a bit of a whirlwind. The nation seemed to just, everyone wanted a piece of me.
Yeah.
But it was awesome. You know, I think because of the time of year, I always feel it more in December when it comes to giving readings and things. Mm-hmm. You know, I feel that people, they need that from, you know, they need that connection with their loved ones. I find, anyway.
Yeah.
It might not be like that everywhere, but in my little bubble it is.
I think it's quite understandable.
Really yeah.
It's a time when you miss those people the most, I think, Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah, and I always feel, every year I feel I need to do something and invite people to some sort of event to deliver that message, because I always feel like that. For me, I always miss my people more at Christmas. Mm-hmm. Just, you know, it's that time of year, isn't it, where you miss them because it's a time for coming close, isn't it, with your family and your loved ones.
Yeah, very much so. I think it is. It's that time of the year when it is, and that's what Claire was doing. Really, was like working in the way she works, and got very tied up with that, which is why she wasn't on the Spirit Dimension. But
I did miss the Spirit Dimension.
Good girl. That's what I like to hear.
Like a hole in the head. No, I'm joking.
I ain't going to sack Claire after tonight's show, note to self. So we thought we'd kick off the year with goals and resolutions, because, you know, we've just done New Year as well, and everybody says, oh, you know, you're going to set a New Year's resolution. I don't. I have to say, New Year is not a time where I do that at all. I'm normally too bloody exhausted to do anything at that time, let alone plan ahead in a year. And I've actually learned as I've got older that, yeah, I'm not so good at keeping to it. Do you know what I mean? If I'm there on New Year's Eve going, I'm going to do this next year and I'm going to do that, I kind of not very good at that. I tend to go with the flow a lot more. And as things come up through the year, that's when I'll tend to, I'll set an intention more than a resolution or a goal for myself. I'm not one for going, I've got to do a big project this year, because that's kind of not how I work. What about you?
Well, we were just saying, weren't we? I used to try and set New Year resolutions, but I'm more about a little bit of intention setting these days. But I tend to do it all year round rather than just at New Year. I think we all start to think, oh, New Year, you know, quit smoking, quit drinking, get running.
Yeah. Start off with the right mindset for the new year.
Get rid of all the stuff that's really bad for us.
There was one thing actually
Clean
that was
the house.
Yeah, on a regular basis. But there was a thing that was doing the
2 months.
doing the rounds on the social medias, which I didn't like. Okay, I didn't like this meme that was going around, and it had like little bags of stuff. So get rid of toxic people, get rid of negativity, get rid of this, get rid of that, get rid of, you know what I mean? And I was thinking, oh, it's all very negative, the getting rid of, isn't it? Because sometimes it's the situation that's toxic, not the person, and you have to own your own self-responsibility. We've discussed that before in situations, and it felt very blame factor on everything else as to why stuff was bad. I just didn't like it. And I thought, where's the positivity in that? Where's the doing things for your sisters are doing it for themselves kind of things? And men, obviously, for the men listening.
Yeah, and I think it's easy to lose sight of what, being positive, isn't it? Because people can be very negative. We can all be very negative about the things that are hanging on. Like we were just saying about the drinking and smoking. I'm just plucking those things out of the air.
Because I'm doing both right now.
Are you? Well, but that's good for you. But if you're happy doing that, it's not a negative thing, is it?
No, exactly right.
It makes you happy. It's fine. I think it's good to remember to be, to try and have some positive ideas and positive thoughts. The whole idea is like out with the old and in with the new, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's your perspective, isn't it? So.
Do you think the perspective then has shifted on the New Year's thing? Do you think it's been shifted too much to a negative viewpoint of the past year rather than embracing the good of the past year and then moving forward into the new year with just the same positivity? Do you think people are becoming more negative?
I don't think that people are negative generally. I think it's from where I am, generally it's quite positive. It's just the same as it's always been, I think. New year, new start. I don't think that's necessarily negative. I think depending on what's going on in your life, who you've got around you, what changes do you want to make, it's whether you see it, how you make it negative or positive, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. It's definitely a mindset thing. But I have to say,
definitely.
New Year's Eve, I was out, obviously, and I'm at a party, a lot of people there. And the amount of people that were saying 2018 was a hard year. It was a really challenging year for a lot of people.
Do we say that every year, though?
I was thinking that. Do we say that every year? I know personally, for me, it was one of I took a lot more time out. I needed to, for my own sanity. I needed to do a lot more inner work for myself. And so last year I did take more. I was still working, but I was doing it in a lot more private way rather than putting it out there on the socials. I wasn't doing the vocalization that I had done in previous years. So for me, it must have felt like, from an outsider looking in, that I was stepping away from stuff when I wasn't actually. I was doing beavering away in the background on projects that are yet to be revealed. But I don't know. I think...
Ooh, that was a little taster there.
Wow, who knows what's going to come? Who knows? I've still got work to do on them. Now, I looked into the differences between goals and resolutions. And a goal is a person's ambition or effort, an aim or a desired result. And a resolution is a firm decision to do or not to do. It's very black or white, a resolution.
Okay. So
that's the differences between the two. And I much prefer a goal than a resolution because I tend to break a resolution. I get a bit more flighty with my resolutions. I'm not going to do that. And then I go, oh, yeah, but it doesn't harm, does it?
Yeah. If you set a goal, it's a positive thing to work towards, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, right, I'm gonna write a book this year. That's my goal. I'm going to write a book. And then you've got that to work towards. But I think the problem with goals, which can be, which I'm going to mention in a minute, about vision boards, because we set goals and we place them on a vision board. It's about keeping that intention in your mind all of the time, because it's a goal. And then, like, say, the same with the resolution, isn't it? I'm going to stop doing that. I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to make sure I do my ironing once a week. That's my New Year's resolution. I'm going to do my ironing pile.
Yeah, don't do that.
Then, no, you do it for the first 2 weeks, and then it fizzles out, doesn't it?
Exactly.
So with a goal, you you kind of, it's easy to write that down. You have the same problem, can't it? Because you can write it down and say, I'm going to aim for that. I'm going to aim for writing my book this year. And you write a little bit and you forget about it because other things get in the way and you get tied up doing, other things. So I think you've got to be careful how you do all of these things because you've got to set intent. If you want to achieve, you have to keep those things in your vision all the time. You have to keep them in your perception all of the time.
You do. You actually have to do the work, is what you're saying.
You do.
You actually just have to do the work for it.
Yeah, but you can also do things to motivate you to want to do the work.
That's
it's
true.
That mindset, isn't it?
Now, I looked into how to achieve a goal because I'm like that. I'm sad like that. So basically, you have to break it down into manageable chunks for a start. So taking the writing a book scenario that you mentioned, that, when you look at it, in your head, you're seeing a finished product, aren't you? Book.
Yeah.
You're seeing like a physical hard copy book on your table in front of you with a lovely picture on the front with your name and loads of pages and then forewords and all the things that you have to put into a book. And that's a very lovely goal, isn't it, everybody? That final visualisationed image is very nice, but you've got a lot of work to do to get to that point. And it's when you start thinking, right, what do I need to do to get to that? Well, first of all, you've got to write it. Yeah, first of all, you've got to have a book in some form of format. But you have to break it down into manageable chunks. Now, Richard Estep, a nice friend of ours on Parasearch Radio, said 500 words a day.
Okay.
If you do 500 words a day, it's manageable. Now, if you're like Ashley, well, yeah, see, right? I was like, really? Well, Ashley can bang out 3,000 words no problem in about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Oh, no, Claire's gone.
Like a lot, doesn't it?
It's a hell of a lot. No, you haven't. You're here.
Can hear you.
Yeah.
500 words a day.
500 words a day is Richard Estep. He said, and believe it or not, by the end of a month, you've got quite a sizable amount of words down on paper. Right, but like I say, someone like Ashley writing a blog, he can do 2,000, 3,000 words no problem in like an hour and a half, 2 hours. But he's a natural writer. He's very good at putting down. He says, I get like to the first sentence and then think, oh, what do I say now?
It's like anything, isn't it, though? The more you do it, the better you get at it.
And the intention to sit down,
the easier it becomes.
And the intention to sit down and have a direction of what you want to write, right? Okay, so so you write down. So that's one way of doing it, right? So you've got to write the book, but write down your manageable chunks. So today I'm going to focus on this chapter is going to be about this chapter is going to be about that chapter is going to be about that. Break it down into manageable chunks and write them down so you've got like a plan of action. And then frame it in positivity. So, like, rather than, we've talked about this before, in regards to how you word it. So rather than saying, I can't have ice cream because I'm giving up ice cream, you have to frame it in a more positive way. Like, I choose not to do it. Yeah, Rick. See, Rick's a writer as well. Rick Hale is in the chat room. Good evening, Rick. And he says... He writes for Spooky Isles, which I started to. And I'm not a natural writer, so I kind of have let it go. But it does take discipline and desire to be a good writer. You're right there, Rick. To be fair, I'm going to kill my son. I'm just going to say out loud on air. So if he goes missing...
You probably shouldn't say that on the radio.
If he goes missing, check under my patio because he's probably going to be there. So you change it into a positivity, yeah? So it's almost like, how do you do that? You go, I will allow myself to have chocolate once a week, or ice cream once a week, or I'll allow myself to take a break once a week, rather than, I just can't do it today because I've been writing every day for 6 months. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like, give yourself that space and that permission.
Frame.
And frame it positively. And then accountability. So basically, in this one, it's supposed to be accountability. Somebody else is going, did you do your 500 words today? And you go, oh, no. And then all the excuses come out. And they're like, well, book's not going to get written like that, is it? So somebody who'll hold you accountable for that. And this is how you achieve goals. And some people do this by putting stuff out on social media. They'll put it out going, I'm going to lose weight, and then you follow someone's weight loss journey. And actually, the ones that are achieving that, I think it's absolutely fantastic, because I like seeing a positive journey. Rick has been through a really incredible personal journey, and it's been fantastic to see the positivity and how he dealt with that in such a positive way, which I'm sure it wasn't positive all the time. But for him, he dealt with it in that way, and it was really good. There was an accountability there for himself to embrace the challenges, horrendous challenges that he came across. But he's dealt with it, and he's absolutely... there's no difference in him, you know what I mean? He's dealt with it. It was almost like he was holding himself accountable for maintaining a positivity throughout that journey. And so, yeah, accountability is supposed to be one. So if you are... say a weight loss journey or a giving up smoking journey, you've got that accountability from your friends. When I was giving up smoking the first time, all my friends would not let me have a cigarette if we were out drinking, because that was always my weak point. So that's how you achieve a goal.
It's what works for you as well, isn't it? It's what works for you as well to achieve that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely that. You've got to find out how it works for you. Oh, for goodness sakes, Kate, you so need to sort out your connection, woman.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, keep going.
I've got in my hand. Accountability.
Totally.
It is important with their friends. They need to share their journey with them.
What she's trying to say is you have to share your journey with people to be accountable.
Whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great thing.
I think it's totally great. I have a massive support network. I have a massive support network that held me accountable for things that I've said I'm going to do, or question me if I'm going off on why are we going down that pathway? That's not quite where we was heading on that. And I'm like, oh, I know, but it's a rabbit hole I've just gone down. Yeah, that's usually the professor cracking the whip. So you've got your goal. How do we then manifest this goal? Manifestation is, we've talked about this a few times on the spirit dimension, about manifesting your goal or your desire that you want. Now, there are many ways you can do this, isn't there, Claire?
To manifest your goal?
Yes.
Totally, yes. Where should we start?
Well, why don't you talk about a course that you're running in a couple of weeks?
Okay, so next Sunday, actually, my friend Helen and I are running. We've had Helen on the show before, haven't we? Talking about positive mindset and setting goals and things. So we are running a vision board workshop beginning of the year, same thing, setting intentions, resolutions. So we're going to create vision boards. We're going to talk about having positive mindset, why it's important to keep those goals and those intentions in the forefront of your mind to make them a reality. We're going to do some fun things, like have a really good meditation. We're going to get everybody in a really good positive mindset. We're going to let all the stuff that doesn't serve you is going to leave. We're going to breathe away the stuff that doesn't serve us anymore and only breathe in.
Oh, God. Breathe out negativity, breathe in positivity.
Yeah?
So woo-woo, it's untrue.
So we're going to create vision boards. I did one last year, actually, with the kids, and we just put things on it that we thought would be fun to try and do throughout the year. I put money signs all over my board. Give me some abundance. I want money. Holidays. We put holidays on there. Visiting various people, going to certain places. It was fun, and it just kept us all focused on the same thing. We all had the same ideas, so it was nice to have it. We had it on the kitchen wall, and everybody got involved. And I just think it's a lovely way to set goals for your year. And when we looked back, actually, through the year, we had actually achieved quite a few of them, but we hadn't even noticed that we'd done it until we actually sat and looked at the board, and we were like, oh, actually, well, we did go to London, and we did do this, and we did go on holiday twice, and these were things. They might not seem very big things, but they came about, and we weren't even really thinking about it. And I believe that that's because that was on the wall, and we were subconsciously thinking about doing those things all of the time. And I think that's how it works. You keep that vision in mind all of the time, hence the vision board.
Yeah. And because you've got that visual reminder, even if you're not like going, oh, look at our lovely vision board every day, it's a visual that is going in there every day, even though you're not consciously admiring your vision board, as it were. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you're just looking at it, like you've got pictures hanging on the wall in your house, haven't you? And you walk past them, and I don't know, I do. Like, I'm sitting here now and I'm looking at the pictures I've got on the walls, and I always like the pictures I've got on the walls, but some days I see them, but I don't see them. Yeah. I just walk by them. Mm-hmm. And that's the same with a vision board. So those things are subconsciously sinking in all of the time, And of course, the other thing that is really important is to have constant awareness, isn't it? But hence having it there on the wall. Gratitude is another thing. See, Lisa talks about that, doesn't she? Lisa Michaels a lot.
Yeah, finding something positive in every day.
Yeah, positive affirmations, gratitude, being thankful and expressing it out loud, or consciously saying, thank you for my house, because worse things happen. I could be on the street. Thank you for my shoes. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my family. I feel very grateful for. Express it daily, because it brings your goals closer to you. Because it changes your mindset.
It does. Now, one thing I read today, actually, which was quite interesting, was about mindset and belief systems. And basically, belief systems, particularly negative thought patterns, get set in the first 7 years of life in your upbringing. So a lot of what you carry through forward in life that holds you back are things that were set in from the years 1 to 7. And it's once that programming has taken place, it's very hard. You don't even know, because it happened in your informative years where you're not really remembering what happened between 1 and 7. It's happened in your informative years. But you can change that by daily affirmations and believing and changing how you think. So if you start getting a negative thought pattern, you change it. If someone says something about you that you don't like, you dismiss it rather than allow it to internalise it, which will back up the negative mindset belief system. Am I making sense, everybody? I know where I'm trying to go with that. But you can change your internal mental programming by doing these things. And this is where I think a lot of the art of, building your self-confidence, your self-esteem, your self-worth, self-discipline is very key in that. You have to wake up, and even if you wake up feeling crappy and miserable and grumpy, which, to be fair, I'm not a good morning person, so that's usually every morning, I'll sit in front of the mirror and be like, I am happy, I am lovely.
Do you do that, Kerry? Do you do the mirror work?
Yeah, but like usually when I'm doing my makeup. But it was like, I am, and I'm telling you guys, I am not a morning person. I need to have at least 2 cups of tea and several fags and just be left alone for a good hour, and then I turn into happy Kerry. So when you're doing these affirmations and I'm putting my makeup on first thing, it really probably isn't right. I should do it after I've woken up. Because I'm like, I'm happy, I'm great, I'm awesome. It's like not said in a very nice way to myself, but the intention is there that I'm trying to change my mindsets. Do you know what I mean?
So we've talked before about the miracle morning, haven't we? The Hal Elrod miracle morning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you do that.
So,
do you still do that?
Yeah.
Because you were doing that this time last year.
I was doing it in the summer. I started doing it last summer, actually, and I fell off the wagon for a while, but I found a way of doing some of the things that I sort of wasn't getting up in the morning and doing the whole routine, so to speak. I was finding things that I needed to do and just doing the things that worked for me when I needed them. At the moment, we're back on it. There's four of us that are doing it again. again with the accountability, because we get up in the morning and we have a call together in the morning at 6:45, and it's accountability to each other because it gets us up, you know. I'm just gonna, it gets us up in the morning. The first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I put my earphones in and I turn on my affirmations, and I just listen to them while I'm going about my morning, because
so you have somebody else tell you how great you are, how awesome you are, how you're confident, and
I've got
you're a confident and empowered woman.
CD or something I downloaded. I am affirmations, and it just, you just listen to them repetitively. Mm-hmm. That's all. I mean, I did do my own. I've recorded my own and listened to those, but this works for me at the moment, so that's what I'm using.
It is about what works for you.
Yeah.
I mean, Rick has just said that when he lost his leg, he was immediately his focus was immediately on walking again. There was no question in his mind he wasn't going to walk. He was always with that, I am going to be walking again. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yes, it would take a prosthetic to do so, but he was going to do it. It did take time.
Yeah.
But he was accepting of that process and was patient enough with himself, and now he's fine. Walking with his ability that he's got now. Do you know what I mean? But it took time, and that's the key, isn't it? Patience in changing that. And Ashley has said that because constant focus can reprogram at a neurological level. But that's, I'm sure that's been proved, hasn't it?
It's retuning, isn't it? That's all. What you were saying
so
about
when
your mind being programmed in the first 7 years of your life.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know those things are going in because you're young and impressionable, and there's lots of negative, positive, that you're just like a sponge at that age, aren't you? Taking in everything. So now later on in life, there are things that have obviously gone into your mind that might make you, for example, you might have an issue with money, and it might be because you're the single mum, and she was, completely skint all of the time, and all of the time her worries were about money. And now that might be why you are constantly fretting about money, or you have issues with money, but you wouldn't necessarily make that link if you didn't know about it. So it's about pardon? Exactly. Yeah. So it's just about retuning your brain. That's all. It's like fine tuning. That's all. So instead of focusing on the lack of, start focusing on the what's the opposite of lack?
Abundance.
So start focusing on the abundance. What actually it's the not the lack of, but the most of. I haven't not got any. I'm thankful for what I have got. Turning it round into something more positive, and it does change. It's reprogramming it, just saying it every day. I had a bit of that going on. I was constantly thinking, oh my god, look at the money going out, and then I realised, actually, what am I doing? I'm focusing on what's going out. So then I stopped doing that, and I just was focusing on what was coming in. Just focusing on what's coming in, and it changes your perspective. The numbers might not change that quickly, but it does make you feel better, it does make you feel different, and you do start to see it in a different way, and that goes for everything. It's money, it's negative, positive, isn't it?
Yeah, I got told this.
It's all about perspective. We know somebody that knows all about perspective.
We certainly do. We certainly know somebody who knows about that. Now, one of the things in regards to a goal is you kind of have to know what it is you want. What is it what is it you're trying to achieve? What is it? How many times have you said, so what is it you want? Well, I don't know. But I don't want it to be like this. Immediately it's a negative, isn't it? I don't want it to be like this, but I don't know what it is I want. So you need to really clarify to yourself what it is you want. I know what I want, and I will achieve it. But I won't achieve it in the way that I probably initially perceived it 3 years ago. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because when I first started, both on my crystal and my radio journey, I wanted credibility and integrity. In fact, for the radio, my crystal business, I said, I don't care what happens, but I want credibility and integrity in the work that I do. And it wasn't all going to be woo-woo spiritual. I wanted it backed up. I wanted it, I wanted knowledge behind what I was talking about. And that's where my credibility and my integrity comes in. So research comes into that. And I did a lot more of that last year, which I feel has actually lent a lot more credibility to the work that I've done. Stop moving.
Sorry.
I'm worried she's going to lose her connection again, is all I'm saying. So when I go back to my initial goal of starting both my business and my paranormal journey, it wasn't a goal as in, I want to be the best radio presenter in the world, and I want fame and fortune, and I want loads of money out of my business and to be the best crystal seller in the world. That actually wasn't what I wanted. Credibility and integrity were actually what I wanted out of that. And that's a goal. And I'm still working to achieve that.
You don't feel that you have that then?
I think there's always work you can do to improve your credibility and integrity, and I won't stop on that. So that is, and this year, that's
an ongoing thing then.
That is an ongoing goal. That's an ongoing goal. And there's a hell of a lot of work that goes on that you don't see. So I can put that out there and be proud of the work that I put out there. There are always going to be times and shows that I'm not too proud of, like the last end of year show, which was basically a Gwyneth Paltrow Oscar speech, I would just like to say. Yeah, good ethical standards is where ethical standards is where that begins. And then from that you go, okay, so what do I want to be perceived by other people? I want to be taken seriously as not just a paranormal investigator. That's actually, I don't really want to be out in the field. I've said that before. That doesn't hold much thrill for me. It used to, but it doesn't now, because I don't know. I just want a body of work that's credible and integral and actually helps the field, rather than actually be out there and be another generic ghost hunter in the field. Yeah. So when I do go out in the field, I want to be able to bring something different to it that actually will help push the field forward, rather than just produce another ghost most haunted kind of YouTube video. No disrespect to anybody that does that, by the way, because if that floats your boat, that's fine. Yeah. Because we're still looking for, in the paranormal field, we're still looking for what is a ghost. Not, I'm going to capture a ghost. I want to know, what is it? Do you know what I mean? That's that's where I want to come from. Where is that link that I get when I do a tarot reading? What is that that's causing that? Is that just a telepathic interaction, which is the theory that Ashley goes? There's that's the work that gets me excited, and that's where my integrity and credibility come from. For you, when you first stepped up and decided to embrace your work that you do, what was it for you that started you? Where did you go? I want to do this for this. Because I bet your goal wasn't to do the work you do now initially. Because you denied it for a lot of years.
I did. Well, I didn't ever deny it. I just never really embraced it to the extent that I am now. So it was up there bubbling away in the background, but I never really did anything. I wasn't doing anything with it. And then all of a sudden, when the light switch went on, and I couldn't ignore it anymore, then I think my goals have changed. Now I'm in a place where I feel I just want to be honest in my work. I want people to want to come to me because they get a good connection. I want people to leave me having had a really good experience, really. I want honesty, credibility, the same things, really. And I want people to come and be really satisfied, really happy with what they've experienced. What else,
So when you say you've got to be clear what you want, what we've described isn't actually, I want a book out, or I want something tangible. It's not actually about that, is it?
Well, not always. I mean, you can be more specific. So as part of the Miracle Morning thing, part of that is to journal. So we say you can write your own story. So you can sit down, write letters to the universe. You know, we've talked about that before as well. Dear universe, expressing the gratitude. It's really amazing how in 2 weeks, my income has turned around, and you tell the universe all the things that you want in a really positive way, and wait for it to come about. And you just get its repetitiveness as well. You know, the more you say it, the more you give it.
So we go back to affirmations. Change your mindset about it. Back to affirmations. So you're asking the universe what it is you want, and being almost very specific in what you want. Now, you have to put the work in yourself. We've said this before as well. There's all well and good putting out a goal of writing a book, but the universe isn't going to just plonk a book on your desk. And so how great would that be, though?
Oh my God, wouldn't it be awesome? Can I just say that, when we're saying that about, I'm losing my train of thought. I've got somebody walking around in here, and like not a ghost, a real person.
I thought she was going to go to a mediumistic thing then. I thought one of her guides has stepped forward and is going to like tell us off for not getting it right. She starts channeling live on air.
What are we talking about? What were we saying?
Asking the universe, popping a book. It's not going to come and pop a book on your desk.
No. The universe isn't just going to pop a book on your face. Oh, that's right. That's what I was going to say. So part of the miracle morning thing is, so you express the goal, you set the intention, you do the writing and you do the work, but then you're getting yourself in the mindset to want to do the work. You know, I get to the other end of my day and I'm still feeling really motivated, whereas if I don't do my morning, I feel it later on in the day. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Somehow my motivation goes bleh. I can't explain it.
No, that's true. But I have to say, the amount of people that wake up and they go, okay, so what have I got to achieve today? And that'll be like, I don't know, your day job, but I also want to do a post for this, and I want, for my business, I want to do the washing, I want to do this, and this, and this. And because you've set those goals throughout the day, and you've put them out there, you do achieve them. But if I've got up and I've just gone and haven't sort of like thought about what I want to achieve out of that day, then I generally won't achieve a lot. I'll procrastinate a lot.
So having a plan then?
Plan of action. But you have to do the work yourself. The universe will give you those opportunities, but it's not going to do it for you. Like Ashley said, it'll be really helpful. He's writing a book right now about time, #, and wouldn't it be great if the universe could just like take it all out of your head, put it in a book and pop it on your desk? But it's not going to do that. You're the one that has to sit down and put the work in to put those words down on paper. And then once you've got it, you've then got the editing process to do. Then you've got the work of getting it published somehow and the artwork that goes into it. It's not just a question of writing a load of words. There's a lot more work that goes into that. We're using the book thing as a very good analogy for this process, but you do this for anything that you want. But the universe will open up those opportunities and let you see, the inspirations and how you would achieve your goal. Basically, it will open up those opportunities for you because you've put that goal out there. But it's not going to do the work for you.
When you change the way when you change how you look at things, the things you look at change.
Correct. And you have to trust the process as well, because not every day is a good day with your goal.
No. And some days are going to be naturally harder anyway, aren't they?
Yeah. You don't get time to sit. Yeah, you're not always going to get the time to sit down and write your 500 words, going on Richard E. Stepp's theory. But you kind of have to push yourself to do that, but you have to trust that process. These are all manifestation steps that people do. And you've talked about this, receiving it and acknowledging what you're getting. Hello. Little face appears on the screen. See, Ashley, I know. Ashley loves a bullet journal. He tried to introduce me to bullet journaling to get me more organised with my research, but I'm really crap at that. I just think it's wasted time.
What's that then? Okay, that was a big sigh.
It just seems to take more time organising. It's basically organising your time time management and, you know, breaking it down into manageable chunks. But it just seemed to take more time than the way I was doing it. But he hates how he tries so hard to organise me with my research, that man. Honestly, everybody, if you knew, if you just knew. I'm getting better. I am getting better. But the other thing is, keep your vibration high. So when you're thinking negative, low vibrational thoughts like jealousy, shame, negativity, you know, having those low self-worth days, you know, keep your vibration. Recognize ego days. How many times, I hate people's egos. And yet then I catch myself being egotistical myself. And then I have to pull myself up. But that's a lot of self-work, isn't it? That's a lot of self-recognition of your own emotional reactions to things, I think, that one.
Yeah, and it's really easy to get sucked into that, isn't it? Part of the miracle morning thing is to focus on what's positive, you know, and to snap your ego back into not the negative and the horrible and the boring but the positive and the happy and it's hard to do, you know, on a naff day when it's peeing with rain and everybody's getting on your wick and you just want to shout and scream. It's hard to do. It's hard. You know, it doesn't just come to you, this stuff. It's hard work. Yes. It's self-love.
Yeah. I've been told I have to be more selfish this year. That I always have a reading at the beginning of the year, and this person said, you give too much, so you have to be more selfish, and it's not a bad thing to be a little bit more selfish. So start giving yourself what you naturally give to others, and don't feel wrong for giving that to yourself and not to others.
No, it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of self-love. You know, do a little bit more for yourself. You know, you show up every day. You know, you show up for what you have to do every day, and you give a lot. So you have to take a little bit back. And you mustn't feel bad about that.
No. But as a society, do you not think we're trained to give and not actually to focus on ourselves? It's bad to think about yourself. It's you know, it's oh God, you're being really selfish. God, you know what I mean? But sometimes I think that's so important. Sometimes, not all the time. You know, there are plenty of times where you give throughout a day, like you said. But you know, you sometimes have to go, no, you know, that's not good for me now.
Yeah.
And recognise it and take those steps, which is positive for you, but not necessarily positive for another person. But that's a different show. Okay, but that's self-responsibility. But that's self-responsibility, isn't it?
Yeah.
For your own space. Right, so we talk about focus and keeping focused on the goal. That's quite tricky.
Keeping focused on it?
Yeah, sometimes that's really tricky.
You're just talking about one goal. What if you set lots of goals?
Keeping focused on one goal is hard enough, let alone several, surely.
No, it's not. Not if you stick it on the wall.
In a vision board.
Yeah.
Right, everybody, I want all your vision boards put up on the Parasearch Radio group page so we can all see and hold you accountable for it.
Do homework, people. Do your vision boards.
I haven't got time to do a vision board. I tell you, I'm crap at that sort of thing. I start off with good intentions on that, and then it all goes to pot, and I never finish it. And then I think, I just get on with life.
Well, then you need to work on your intention setting, Mrs.
Well, when I set an intention...
I start off with good intentions, you said.
I know, but when I do a proper intention setting, well, I class as a proper intention setting. No one can beat me at that, mate.
You've got the power. I've got crystal power.
It's in my finger. Yeah, I use crystals for that. I use crystals for my intention setting. And I do my intention setting with crystal gridding. That's how I... ritual work when I'm doing that kind of work. That's how I work. So a vision board feels too arty crafty. I'm not a naturally arty crafty person, even though I do crafting for some of the spiritual tools that I do. I have to be called to that when it's the time's right. I'm not constantly at it like some people.
But I think that's perfect what you've said, because actually it's what works for you. So if that is what works for you, and that's your way of intention setting for the year or goal setting, or whatever you want to call it, that's fine. That works for you. But for other people who maybe aren't quite so I was going to say spiritually minded, but I don't mean that. But, don't have access to crystals, or, don't tune into spirit exactly, or don't go to mediums or tarot readers. Working on a vision board is something fun that they can do, include their children or their family, and just do in a light-hearted way, rather than piling a ton of pressure on themselves for the year. But actually, these are things I'd like to do in the year, or these are things I'd like to achieve. Get a holiday brochure and cut out some photographs out, for holidays, or new car, or just things that are achievable if you don't put a ton of pressure on yourself.
Yeah, I suppose for the more muggle people, I say that with love in my heart. Good old JK, gotta love her terminology. For
funny, we were watching that earlier.
I'll tell you, there's a show in now. I'm telling you now. For those kind of people, just doing basic, family goals. Like you say, you want to go on holiday here, you want to do that, you want to do this, and like you say, by the end of the year, when your family look back on that. And that's actually a lovely family time to do it as well, isn't it? A vision board amongst the family.
Yeah. I mean, last year, my boys are a bit older, so Phoebe and I, Phoebe's only 7, so we painted the board and stuck stuff on it, and she had great ideas. She thought it was great. And the boys were like, "Whoa, it's all load of rubbish." Actually, the longer it was on the wall, they started adding things to it.
Like the latest Xbox game. Come up to Christmas, they started adding their Christmas presents onto it.
No, they didn't. They wrote separate lists.
I want the universe to manifest this game.
It interested me though that they added their own things to it after it was hanging up.
Yeah, but they didn't want to put the effort in initially.
No. But why was that, I wonder?
Because they're older and they have attitudes, and they're at that age, aren't they? Trying to get my two to do anything these days is blinking. That's the word I was actually going for. I kind of mixed it up with the swear word. It's a miracle, is all I can say, getting them to do anything. So anyway, focusing your energy, attention, awareness and emotion. So you believe it. You have to believe it. You really, for your goal, you have to believe that you can achieve this. And that is done through affirmations, it's done through meditations, through visualizations, it's done through doing the work, and actually putting the work in. The more work you do to it, the more you believe in yourself that you can do it. Because the amount of times I've surprised myself when I've read back something I've done research-wise and gone, blimey, gosh, didn't I do a good job on that? And but that's where confidence comes, isn't it?
And that's what, if you read, like if you journal and write stuff in your journal and then read it 2 or 3 months later and think, and you actually see, or you understand, or you see the things that have happened, don't you, before or since then. So you write down, I would like to do universe, new car. I've done that before with various things, and looked back and hadn't even realised that I'd written it down, and because I'd just done it absent-mindedly, and looked back and actually, we have done that now, and I didn't even realise that I wanted it.
Yeah.
Because the trick is to write it down and forget about it a lot as well. So you can set the intention. Vision board is different. So a vision board is to work with all year long, or all of the time, whereas a set an intention is to write it down and put it away, and let the universe work on it for you.
Yeah.
So that's where the magic happens, really.
That is where the magic happens. There is magic out there, people. You just have to see it, I think, is the expression, right?
You have to believe in it.
That's a different show. The belief system kicks in there. Feeling it. You have to feel it. And that's not feeling it as in pretending that your feet are in the sand and the sun is shining on your face, because I'm the world's worst at that kind of visualization. But emotionally feel it. I'm very good at remembering a similar time and remembering how that felt. I shared a post the other day, and it was of a guy on a surfboard, and while he's surfing, which he probably does every day of his life, if he's a surfer, they tend to do that every day, don't they? And a pod of dolphins were surfing the same wave as him, and you can't express how that felt. He'll come out and go, oh my God, that was awesome. What an experience. But he wouldn't be able to put into words exactly how that felt. Only he will remember how that felt. And I said...
Because it was his experience.
Exactly. That was his experience. And we've all got those experiences, that step out of time, that time of pure joy or emotional connection at that specific moment. And it's pulling on those emotional memories that help you feel your goal. That's how it's going to feel when I achieve that. And also when you do achieve it, you'll start getting that self... proud of yourself. How many people are proud of themselves? And they should be. Some of the things that people have overcome, I see a lot of this in the spiritual field, some of the challenges that they've overcome in their lives, and you think, God, you should be so proud of yourself. You've managed to do that. And they're not. They go, I just did it. But you should be so proud of yourself when you've done that. Oh, she's off on a beep beep again. And then the other thing was, you have to act it. So if you're going to be a writer, write. If you're going to give up smoking, don't smoke. If you're going to be a runner, run. You know what I mean? You're not going to achieve things and your goals without actually doing that. Oh, she's gone completely, I think. Oh my God, now flying solo. She needs to sort her connection out, is what I'm saying. So all of these things help you to achieve your goals and your resolutions through. But resolutions, we said it right at the top of the show, are very black or white. I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to give up smoking. But again, the steps to do that aren't always clear. They're not always clear at all. So you have to think very carefully about what it is that you're doing. And, oh gosh, she's now calling me. There, Claire? My goodness me. This is all going horribly wrong at the end because of Claire's connection. Claire, are you back in the house?
I'm back in the house. I'm very sorry, I didn't move an inch.
So, we were talking about acting it. If you want to be a Ghostbuster, dress in your boiler suit with your proton pack on your back. There's a famous meme on Facebook that does the rounds on this one, is all I'm saying on that one. So that basically is what we're looking at in regard to goals and resolutions and how you can help possibly achieve what you want to for the year 2019. Now, Claire, you've been shuffling a deck of cards the whole time we've been talking tonight, and you want to give a card for the energy of...
The energy of...
The month, the year? What are we doing with this?
Oh, okay. Well, I thought it might be nice to do it for this week. I pull a card and post on my page every week. Anyway, and I thought as soon as we were on tonight talking about our goals and things, I'd pull one I'll pull it today and share it for the week. So it's for you guys on there, all you listeners out there. So the card that I've pulled is from my Mermaids and Dolphins deck. And it's actually the Doreen Virtue deck, and it's alchemy. Funnily enough.
Alchemy.
Yeah, and it just fell out of my pack a minute ago. So you have the Midas touch right now, it says, and every project you begin turns to gold. It's amazing. I'm just looking at the card now. Moving upwards. I'll post a little explanation of this after as well, if you like, and we can share it on your chat.
You've got to love it. Claire's cat has just stuck its head into the camera.
I can't actually see you. Where are you?
Oh, I'm here. Don't worry.
Oh. Yeah, look at the cat. Oh, hi. There you are.
Right, Claire. Alchemy.
Yeah, alchemy. Yeah. So. Oh, I wish I could show you all the picture. So that basically in the picture, the mermaid's, she's swimming upwards and she has this little dolphin swimming with her, but she's moving upwards. So I feel like I need to bring to everybody's attention about working. I know we're talking about goals and stuff anyway, but in the moment, I want to be moving upwards. I want to be moving moving up, moving towards whatever your goal is, whatever your intention is, whatever's going on in your life, leaving the rubbish down below and moving up towards a higher place. I feel like I need to talk to you about March. Have you got something going on in March?
Who knows?
Okay.
Tell me all. And then we'll be able to call you in March and go, well, Claire, what's happening? You know, you said in January.
This card is about self-belief as well. And really believing that whatever you want to achieve, you can. It's very healing. It's about spending time on yourself, having some self-love, and believing that you can do whatever you need to do, and that you need to spend some time looking after yourself. I feel like I'm just talking to you, actually.
Oh, God, I'm getting a reading now, everybody. I'm going to get told off by Spirit again, I'm sure. They love doing that.
Telling you off.
They like to call it kicking me up the backside. I like to call it telling me off.
It's a very peaceful card, and it's not very busy. It's very calm and gentle. So, you know, be good to yourself. This is for everybody. Be good to yourself, because we've just had a really busy season. You know, we're going into the beginning of a new year. So, you know, treat yourself with a bit of care, self-respect. Be kind.
Yeah, and start thinking about what it is you want. You have all the tools at your you know, more tools now than ever to achieve what you want to achieve. And plenty of people on social media to help hold you accountable for your actions.
Yes.
So, you know, do that work in the first couple of months and actually utilize all the tools that you're exposed, you know, at your hands that are out there, which is something that is, people don't recognise the tools that they have in their hand. And sometimes the smallest piece of information can help you achieve the biggest goals.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what, once you see the signs for things, you can't stop seeing the signs, you know, and sometimes the help that we need is right under our noses.
Yeah, reach out to people,
and we
talk
don't
to
even
people.
see it, yeah.
Yeah, reach out, talk. You know, because I say sometimes just talking to the right person about the right project can open up a door that you never anticipated. And it's not actually going into the conversation about what you want, but it comes off the back of that.
Yeah.
You know,
definitely.
Talking to people, definitely. Well, we've come to the end of the show, Claire. Thank you for that.
Oh, well, that's gone quite quickly.
We need to sort your internet connection out, woman. I don't know what's going on with that.
No. Yeah,
that's a goal for the year.
Sort my internet out.
Sort your internet out, woman. So this week we're back to full strength this week on Parasearch Radio. We have got some absolutely fantastic shows coming up for you. To hear all about those, you need to tune in tomorrow about 5:00 on the Parasearch Radio Facebook group page, where I will be live and kicking, doing the weekly show roundup for you. And trust me, there are some shows this week that you are not going to want to miss. We have got blogs coming out. We have got, oh my goodness, we've got loads coming up for you. And we might even have a blown up Cole Hutchinson in the house, because he's been playing with some equipment today. And I'll find out by tomorrow whether or not he blew himself up or not. Thank you, Rick. Good night. On that note, we're going to love you and leave you. Pop over to the Parasearch Radio like page for all the events on shows that are up and coming. I just know on the Spirit Dimension we have got some very exciting people coming up for you. So, on that note, thank you so much for joining me, Claire, on this great discussion evening.
Well, it's been lovely to chat to you.
Lovely to
chat
to
while.
you too. Too long.
Get back in the saddle.
Get back into saddle. And on that note, we bid you all a very farewell and a good night. And I will see you tomorrow live on the Parasearch Radio group page. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.